The hurricane season in the United States begins on June 1st and doesn't end until November 30th. People who live along our nation's coastlines are at greater risk of experiencing the damaging effects of a hurricane, but that doesn't mean you're not at risk if you live further inland. The best way to prepare for a hurricane is to ensure that all the roof connections are up to code. Adding hurricane panels to protect windows and doors can also help prevent damage. High winds, heavy rains, and flooding create much of the destruction to property. For those living very close to the coast, storm surge is also a major concern. Unfortunately, during powerful hurricanes, properties can be completely destroyed, even with the best preparations. Many more properties, however, survive the initial hurricane but are left with slight to severe damage due to strong winds, heavy rain, and flooding. Many of these properties can be rebuilt, but there are environmental hazards people need to be aware of as they rebuild. Mold can begin to grow in as short as 24 to 48 hours on many types of building materials and household belongings. It's important to begin drying materials as soon as it is safe to do so. Some non-porous materials can be cleaned and salvaged, but most porous materials should be discarded if mold growth is present. Also, be aware that improperly removing moldy materials can cause the mold spores to become aerosolized and spread throughout a property. Flooding also caused by the storm can bring not only rainwater into a property, but also viruses, bacteria, and chemical contaminants. Floodwaters come in contact with anything they touch, so sewage and potential chemical hazards may have infiltrated and soaked the structure. Many materials found in older homes contain asbestos. When removing debris or rebuilding a property, these asbestos fibers can become aerosolized. Inhaled asbestos fibers can cause respiratory disease, lung cancer, and mesothelioma. Lead is also a concern because it is a highly toxic metal which produces a range of adverse health effects, particularly in young children. Disturbance or removal of materials containing lead-based paint may result in elevated concentrations of lead dust in the air that can lead to lead poisoning. These are just a few things to consider when rebuilding after a property has been damaged by a hurricane. For additional information and links to environmental professionals, please visit the websites shown on the screen.
IAQ TV, the place to be.